I like to give my guests a little introduction to Ikaria on our first day together, and I talk about the island from many different perspectives. And of course, we touch upon longevity, and not only touch upon it, we delve into it pretty deeply. But one of the things I talk about are some of the unique aspects of the island, and geography is one of them. And the island's geography has affected and has played a significant role in creating a very unique culture here. So one of the most startling things about Ikaria is that the island has no natural ports. And that essentially means that it was never significant. It was never historically significant. It was never important on any trade routes. It was always kind of left, to its own devices out in the middle of the northeastern Aegean. It was never a stopover of any significance. It's also difficult. It was historically difficult to get to the island and historically difficult to leave the island because of that. And also because the waters around Ikaria are famously difficult sailing grounds. It's rough. The north side of the island can be very rough, even in the summertime. It's even rare to see sailboats on the north side during the summers for that reason. But because it was difficult to get to and difficult to leave, Ikaria was also a place of exile. So for much of the island's history, it was a place where the powers that be would send politically threatening people, people with different ideas that maybe, threaten the system a little bit. And that is something that has existed on the island since at least the Byzantine era and right up until the 1950s. So that created a kind of multi-fold, unusual culture here, one in which people developed this sense of solidarity, kind of organically. It wasn't a conscious decision. You're stuck in a small place together. So if you don't collaborate with your neighbor, you're not going to survive or flourish. It's definitely more beneficial to collaborate than to compete. So I think that was something that evolved and is still in our DNA. And the other thing that this idea of isolation brought, but isolation and contact with people had different ideas, is that the island also has quite, people here embrace alternative ways of living, let me put it that way. So I think those two things combined created a culture in which people really feel connected to one another, and there's a really strong sense of solidarity that is multi-generational and also exists in Ikarian communities off the island. So, for example, where I grew up in New York City, the strength of the Ikarian community is still really really deep. And for example, my closest childhood friends are the kids of my parents' friends from the 1960s, and we're still really good friends. And our kids are friends now. So in the summertime, I'll wake up in the summer and I'll see my friend Basil's son sprawled out on my couch because he was on the north side of the island and he knows how to get into the house. I'm not going to say any more. And, he couldn't drive back, so he'll sleep on the couch, and I feel totally comfortable doing that. And likewise, my children also know that, if they're on the other side of the island, they have someone who'll take care of them if needed. So this idea that we're here together, we better learn to collaborate as opposed to compete, and this created this great sense of solidarity that I think has also played into the longevity statistics on the island, because this taps into also this idea that people don't feel alienated from one another. There's always someone there to help you, whether it's a friend, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's a relative. It doesn't matter. You go up into the village and there's always someone there for you. And all of that, I think, to some degree, and again, I'm not a scientist, I'm just speaking experientially and from my own, life on Ikaria. The geography of the island has played a role in that. The idea that it's hard to get here, there were never natural ports, it's hard to get off the island. You're kind of stuck here with one another, so you learn to work together. And I think that's a great life lesson wherever we are.